Oh. Wow, big turnout today. Awesome. Okay. Welcome everyone that just joined. I'm Pierce with PipeDream. Today we're going to go over how to fine-tune OpenAI models using PipeDream. And we're going to do so in a way that doesn't require you to know how to code with pre-built actions with OpenAI here on PipeDream. So before we get started, I just want to let you know what's coming down the pipe, aka announcements that's coming to PipeDream. This is a big one. Control flow is the next big priority that we're building here at PipeDream. The control flow is the idea that you can build branching workflows. So in the past, you've only been able to build a linear workflow that just runs steps sequentially. And we've also had issues where if you want to loop a workflow over many records, it's been kind of difficult. You've had to make two different workflows and kind of like make one iteration workflow, and then the other one processes each record individually. Well, we're building native constructs in the workflow builder to support this. So that way you'll see a more like a canvas rather than a linear set of steps to the builder. We're looking for folks to join the beta for this new feature. It's been a highly requested one for a while. So if you're interested in joining this beta, please visit the link or scan the QR code. We would love to have you join, get your feedback, and give you first dibs or early access to this feature. All right. And then also, if you're not aware, I'm sure most of you are, but we have a PipeDream Slack where there's 4,000 plus of us that are talking every day, showing each other workflows, hacks that we've written for productivity, et cetera. So if you'd like to join, here's a QR code. It opens up our support page, and then you just click the Join Slack button, which will then just add you to the workspace. And feel free to introduce yourself. You'll find me on the channel. I'm always there to help build your workflow, help come up with workarounds if you have issues. So yeah, join us. And of course, introducing our speaker for today, Triz at Bodega Labs. She is going to teach us about how she built a workflow that trains OpenAI from Google Sheets. So thank you so much, Triz, again for joining today, offering to present. I'm going to go ahead and give you the permissions to share your screen. So let's see.
Perfect.
Here. Host. And feel free to take it away.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Let me share my screen. Okay. Maybe I was too fast. I'm going to try again. Yes. Oh, I'm giving access to my computer to be able to record.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Forget about
I
that.
think it's going to kick me off and I will need to enter back, okay?
All right, I'll be here. Sorry about that, folks. So for those who didn't hear her, it's the classic, Mac forgetting that you gave permissions to Zoom to record your screen. It happens. It seems like every single Mac update resets security permissions for some reason. But she'll be right back. So I'm watching the waiting room, make sure I don't miss her. Okay, now she's coming back. Awesome. And then let me make you host again real quick, Triz. So that way you can share your screen. Okay, so you should have host now. I believe she's still muted. There we go. I can see it. We can't hear you though. You might be muted. Yeah, it shows that it gets muted on my screen.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. All
And
good.
let me initiate my video. Okay, it's working now, right?
Yep. I can see the
Perfect.
screen and hear you.
Perfect. Then, yeah, thank you everyone for coming. What I want to show you today is how we can very easily have a Google Sheets file and how we can transform this file into the expected format by the OpenAI API. So you can create a fine-tuning job for ChatGPT. This is the documentation that you can find on the OpenAI webpage, and it just gives you general guidelines on what is useful to fine-tune ChatGPT model and why would you would want to do that. Generally, and what we are going to see today is, as you probably know, if you've used ChatGPT and if you are creating blogs or tweets or you are creating any kind of content, one of the things that is very difficult for ChatGPT to do is to copy and sound like you. One thing that it does is sound a lot like a ChatGPT, and that's why we can actually pick every blog post that has been written by ChatGPT. And what we're going to try to do today is to teach it to sound more like us. So this is one of the common use cases that we can see on the web page, and we are going to try ChatGPT to mimic our style. You have here other common cases, and one of them is also improving reliability at producing a desired output. Other thing that ChatGPT is not very good at is at counting characters or words. So if if you wanted to write again a blog post and you say, hey, I want a blog post between 100 and 200 words, sometimes it doesn't actually listen to you and it will create a shorter one or a much longer one and completely ignore the length that you provided in the prompt. So is at this example that fine tuning is actually very useful, and we will see later at the end when we complete the workflow the difference between writing a prompt in a non fine-tuned model and writing a prompt in the fine-tuned model that we created, and hopefully we will see a difference in quality. We will be using the GPT 3.5 model. I think you can access and fine tune already at a GPT-4 model. And I think it's in beta, so you probably can access it already. But we will be using the GPT 3.5. So the first thing you need to do when you are going to create a fine-tuning job is preparing your dataset. You see that the documentation is pretty extensive and it's very well written. So if you go to this webpage, you will be able to follow along. So the first thing you need to do is preparing your dataset. We have here the example format, and this is what we need to give to ChatGPT to fine-tune a model. So we have three different roles. One of them is system, the other one is the user, and the last one is the assistant. So this works like a regular prompt. You can enter system instructions. On the user, you will be saying what you, as a user, will be writing on this is the prompt that you give to ChatGPT. And lastly, on the assistant is what you would expect ChatGPT to give you as an output for that prompt that you just wrote. So to get this format, I have a Google Drive here folder, and I have here my file. You see that this is a regular Google Sheets sheets. So here we have the three different columns that we just saw. One is system, the other one is user, and the third one is assistant. In this example, we are going to try to get ChatGPT to write tweets for us and try to mimic our style of writing so we can use and create tweets with this model that we just trained. On the system column, I have in every row the same information. So you are a social media expert who specializes in Twitter platform. The target audience are entrepreneurs and small business owners who want to save their time, reduce their costs, and automate their workflows. Your content revolves around no-code, Notion, automation, and project management. And this is the one that we will be entering in every row. Then we have a prompt that we will be training our model from. And in this example, the prompts are really bad. So yeah, the output is not going to be great, but it's important to know that the more quality you put into this training file, the better your model will be trained at the end. And it's actually super recommended that you put an effort here, because the model will be highly trained towards this file that you just entered. This is different from the GPTs. So on the GPTs, you can introduce a file, but it's more like a knowledge file, a general file. But when you train a model, you completely change the way ChatGPT is giving you the output. And here, if you enter high quality prompts and also high quality outputs, the quality of the model will be much higher. Right now we have here, I think it's 29 rows. And also, again, this will not be the best fine-tuned model. If we look at the recommendations from the web page, they recommend at least 50 training examples. So the minimum is 10 examples. And they recommend somewhere between 50 to 100 training examples to get a high quality of the model trained. Lastly, we won't be doing this here, but you can also, if you want to, have two different data sets, one for training, and you can have a test data set to be able to compare the result and right from the fine-tuning job, get the results and the metrics on how your training set is performing on the model. Yeah, and I think with that, we can get started. If we go into the example format that we need to train the model, you see here that this is an object with the three different roles that we mentioned, which is one per column, and that we have a new line per object. So this is a JSON lines format, and that's what we will be doing. We will be transforming our CSV file from CSV to a JSON lines format to be able to do the fine-tuning job. So I'm going into PipeDream. And here I will be creating a new workflow. Let's call it Live Demo PipeDream. Okay, and as a trigger, what I will be choosing, this is my folder, and I will choose that whenever I have a new CSV coming into this PipeDream demo folder, I want the workflow to be triggered. I will be saving, that we will see later, the JSON lines on this folder, and here is where my Google Sheets file is living. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, how can I, because I see okay, let me try to make this here to be able to access the bar from the Google Chrome. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, well, let's start with the workflow better. I'm going to say Google Drive. I'm going to look for the Google Drive modules. And here I will say whenever a new file is added to a folder, I want the workflow to be triggered. So I'm going to select my Google account, and I want to select an individual folder. I don't want it to happen every time, but only when files are added to that specific folder, which the name is PipeDream demo. Okay, should be here. Okay, So whenever a new file is added to the Pipedream demo folder, I want the workflow to be triggered. I'm going to create source, and let's see if it finds any test file. Okay, we have one, and I think it's getting, yeah, this one that I used yesterday. Okay, so let's go with it, and then we will do the whole workflow. So the next thing, when I have the trigger, it's I'm going to download this folder into a temporary folder. You know, you can keep files. I'm going to download this file into a temporary folder. You know, you can download files in temporary folders with Pipedream. Now you also have this file store that we could use that as well. But in this example, we will be using the temporary folder. So I'm going to go again with the Google Drive module. And I'm going to say download file. Okay, and here I'm going to select that file. We should have it on the trigger, and we are going to need the ID. So I'm going to select the path for the ID. So whenever a new file is added to that folder, it will trigger this automation. And here we will be downloaded exactly that file that was added to that folder. And as destination, I'm going to choose the temporary path. We're going to call it leaf demo Pipedream. And in this case, it's going to be a CSV file. And I don't think we need to do anything else. Yeah, let's test it. Okay, and now we have the CSV file in our temporary folder. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use some code to be able to transform this data from CSV to JSON lines. I'm going to do it in two different steps. I'm not a developer at all, and this probably can be super optimized, but it works, so I think it's fine. So I'm going to run custom code. Yeah. And in the first step, we're going to parse the CSV into understandable data, and we're going to be getting an array. And in the second step of the code, we will be transforming this general array into the JSON lines format. So what I'm going to do, because I won't be able to rewrite this now, I'm going to copy the code, and we will go through it. Okay, so this is the code that we need to parse our CSV. You see, this is actually very simple, and if you are a developer, you already understand. But if you are not, I'll go through it. So here we use the CSV parse package, and what we do is very simple. We create an empty array. We read our file that is located. Actually, I need to change this because we name it in a different way. So let me go take it. Yeah. We are going to read the file that is living right now in our temporary folder. And then we are going to use the CSV parse package to be able to understand, so to convert the data into an understandable format to work with it. I'm going to forget about the headings. If you see, if we go to the Google Sheets, the first line are our headings, so I'm going to ignore those. And the delimiter will be a comma. And then for each row, I'm going to be creating new items in our empty array, and then I will return the completed array. So let's see if we still have the file in the temporary folder. Perfect. You see that we have 19 as output, which are the number of, actually, we had, yeah, it should be 29. We should be getting 29, but that's weird. Leave demo, PyDream. Leave demo. Yeah, no, it's fine because it's the file it's living here. It's not our file that I haven't triggered the workflow yet. So if we open this one, let's see if we can look at here. We only have 29 lines here, so that's why we only get 29 as output. Great. Then you see that we have 29 items into the array, and we have in each item 3 different ones. The first one is the system column, which is our first column. The second one is the user column, and the third one is the assistant column. The line is the same, so if we look at the data, write a short tweet of 1 sentence to create authority and take care of your clients. If we go here, it's the same. Write a short tweet of 1 sentence to create authority and take care of your clients, and they'll take care of your business. So we are getting the data properly, and we are ready to work with it. So now on the next step, I'm going to write some code to go from this array into the JSON lines format that we need to input into the OpenAI API. So I'm again going to copy the code. And here again, it's a very simple code. We are again creating an empty array, and then we are going to iterate through all of the different items. This is called code, so I need to change. Well, let me write it from the beginning, this, and then we are able to see it. So here I want to iterate from the array that we got from the previous step. So I just write steps dot code because it's the name of the previous step, dot return value because we are returning this as return value. And then here I just go through the whole length of the array. And I do that with all of the items. And again, here I need to change the value here. So code, and code. So what we will be doing is creating an object with the same format that we need from the documentation. If we go here, we have an object that says messages, and it contains an array of 3 different items. And again, each item is an object itself. And we need one for the system, one for the assistant, and one for the user. So that's what we are doing here. I am creating the object, then I am creating each line of the object, so messages with the 3 different objects. One for system, which is the first item that we got returned in the previous step. Then another one for user, which is the second item that we got from the previous step. And then the assistant, which is the last item that we got before. We put everything together, and our last step here is we are going to map through all of the different items of the array that we got. We are going to convert the format into JSON because here we have line breaks, we have quotes, we have different characters that we need to escape so that we don't get any errors when we are uploading the file into the API. So we convert this text into a readable JSON format. And then instead of converting it into JSON and that's it, if you remember, so the JSON lines format, what is required is that its JSON object is in a new line, as we see here. So then we join every item of this array together, and we join it by a new line. So I'm going to test it. And we get only one object, which is what we need. And you see here that we get exactly what we need. This would be our first line of the Google Sheets data. Then we get our second line, and you see also here that every special character is escaped, so it shouldn't give any errors when we are uploading this file into the OpenAI API. So next, I'm going to make this small. Next thing we are going to do is we are going to create a new file again into Google Drive. So this file that we will be creating will be our actual JSON lines. You don't need to do this. This is completely optional, but in case you want someone to have access to it later, and maybe they don't have access to Pipedream, but they want to have access to the file, you can access this file from the Google Drive folder. So I'm going to go again with Google Drive, and I'm going to create a file from text here. Let's select our folder, and I have one for those files, which is the JSON lines file. Yeah. Let's name it. So I'm going to name it, what can we name it? Pipe leaf demo pipe dream.json. And I'm going, this is important because if you don't include the extension that you will need, I think it will just be created as a TXT. So it's important to include the JSON lines extension, so you get so you don't get any weird things that the Google Drive API does when creating this file. Yeah, and that should be it. I'm going to, oh no, you need to enter the content, and as content we need what we just got on the previous step, which is the code one here. So you select this path, and this is the content that you will be getting into this file. I'm going to test it, and it worked. And now if I go to this file, this is the one we just created, and if I open it, we see that it looks fine, so we get what we were just seeing. So we get one object per line. Each object is separated by a new line, and we have the array with the different objects. The weird characters are escaped, so it should work. We are on a good track here. Next thing, because we just have this file in Google Drive, I'm going to download it again so I can use it to input it as a file for the OpenAI folder. So the next thing I'm going to do is, again, Drive and download. But as I was saying, you can use temporary folder, you can use the file stores of Pipedream, you can use different options here, so just keep that in mind. Again, the file that we will be downloaded is the file, I don't remember if we got, yeah, we have the ID here. So the file is going to be from the previous step here. This is the file that we want to download. And again, I'm going to be using now the temporary path. Leaf demo pipe dream.json lines. This is the destination. We don't need to convert or do anything with this. So let's go test it. Great. And now we are finally going to include a module for the OpenAI API. So if I click here and I look for OpenAI, I select this app, and here you will see that there is one that is called upload file. I click on it, and here is where you will be able to upload files. You will see that you have to select the purpose, and you have two different options. One of them is fine-tuning, and the other one is for assistance. So assistants, if you are not familiar with the OpenAI API, assistants are GPTs, but they are accessible via the API, while GPTs are accessible via the regular UI web page that everyone knows. But assistants and GPT are quite similar, and you can do very similar thing. In our case, we are going to select fine-tuning, and the file, we have it here because we don't get the path from the results, so we need to type them. And the file is this one. If our file has any issues, so if it's not correctly formatted right now, this is the moment that we will be getting an error. This is actually good because I'm going to test it just to make sure that it doesn't get forgotten here, and it worked. It's good that you get an error at this step, because when you are using the OpenAI API, you pay per usage. This doesn't consume any tokens, but it's the fine-tuning job that consumes, so it's good that you get the error at this step, so you don't consume any of your tokens. Yeah, and the last thing we need to do is to create our fine-tuning job. So you go again to the OpenAI app, create fine-tuning job, should be somewhere here. Yeah. You select a model, you can train on different models. The regular one is this one, which is the one we trained our job with, but you can access now the GPT-4, as I was saying before. And yeah, you select your model, you select your training file, which should be the one from the previous step. And here you have the ID, and this is the property you need to select. So you select the path, and you have it ready. Actually, I am not going to test it because fine-tuning usually takes around 15 minutes to do. So this one, I'm going to show you. I'm going to change my screen now. Let me try to find it. Okay, I'm going to go and share now. Playground here. Can you see my OpenAI
We still
web
see
page?
the workflow builder.
Yeah, right. Let me try again. Okay, I'm going to stop and go again.
Probably different desktop, huh?
Yeah, because yeah, I'm using my personal here account. Okay, you see it now. So
Yeah.
if I go into this is how you access the OpenAI API, and here on files, you see this is I'm in Spain, so this is the time now in Spain. Well, 3 minutes ago, and this is the file that we just uploaded, so it worked. We have it here, and it's ready for use. You see that it was for fine tuning. Usually it takes around 15 minutes, and the one I created yesterday for us to test today, it took around 6 minutes. So that's why I'm not testing this, because we won't be able to see this that this worked, but it did. And as I was saying, if if there is an error on the file itself, you will get the error when you are uploading the file and not in the next step. And you can also upload file directly from this file section. You can click on upload and upload as well your JSON-L file. What else? You also get some steps metric. You can also get this steps metric if you are interested on how the fine-tuning job went. So every time you create a fine-tuning job, one is completed, you get this CSV file directly from the OpenAI with some information about the fine-tuning job. And if I wanted to create a fine-tuning job, you can do so via the workflow, so directly, but you can also create it manually. So you come to fine-tuning, click on create, and you will select here again the base model. You will select the training data. You can select the testing data or validation data and create it just yourself. I'm going to be using this one, which has the same information that we were seeing in the original Google Sheets file that we saw. So yeah, let's see what we get as an output if we don't get the regular ChatGPT unleash kind of vocabulary. So I'm going to go with chat. Here I will select the model, which is this one. And let me go to my Google Sheets, and I'm going to enter the system prompt. I'm going to enter that there. And as a user, I'm going to write a short, what can we say? A short tweet for my audience on why automation is important for businesses. I'm going to make sure I have it selected. Yeah. And I'm going to submit this. Oh, okay. It's not very friendly, this. Here it is. Being the CEO of your company is choosing the best systems and tools so you can dramatically scale your business without needing to scale your team. Choosing a poor system because it's cheaper may cost you both in productivity and people living. Careful with this decision. I don't know if you have used ChatGPT a lot, but if you write this prompt on a non-fine-tuned model, you are not getting this response. In fact, let me go and try to, let's do this. We are going to write the same system prompt here, so we are not cheating. And now we are going to be writing this prompt, and let's see the difference. It's the typical way that ChatGPT speaks, right? So unlock your business potential with automation, an emoji, save time, cut costs, and streamline your workflows effortlessly. Embrace tools like no-code platforms, Notion, and smart automation to boost your business and focus on growth. Plus 2 hashtags, automation productivity hacks. In the tweets I wrote, I didn't show you, but I don't have any hashtags. And yes, I am writing them, so I don't use unlock and that kind of vocabulary. And I think it's clear that with just 20 lines of Google Sheets and actually very bad prompts, and the data was not great. The difference on the style and tone of the tweets is quite considerable, and this gives a much better way of a much better draft for me to start writing new tweets than the general ChatGPT chat would give me. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to change the screen again because there's just one thing that I want to say, and then I will be done. So let me go and select Google Sheets. Yeah, just very quick, because on this example, what I have here is always user input, assistant output, user input, assistant output. But if you want to create and train ChatGPT on a conversation level, you could write here also something like a conversation. So user, and then assistant, whatever, close the assistant, and again, finish with a user prompt. So you can also train ChatGPT on conversations if you want to create, for example, coaching, business coaching model, or psychologist coaching, something like that, and you want to ChatGPT to be able to understand conversations better, you can also write on this user column a conversation, and then in the assistant column, the final output that you would expect from that conversation. And that would also increase the quality of the data and the quality of your fine-tuned model. But yeah, that's it from my side.
Awesome. Thank you for presenting. Any questions for Triz? Just open up the floor. I think you can unmute yourselves. That might be, let me double check here.
Hey, Triz.
Okay, cool.
I had a quick question. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. That's a really awesome example, and really appreciate you kind of doing the walkthrough. My question was, I actually had two questions. The first was, have you tested just trying different amount of rows, and have you anecdotally for yourself seen sort of the improvement in performance after a certain amount of fine-tuning examples that you fed OpenAI? And then the second question was, regarding using the tags for system, assistant, and so forth, both in ChatGPT and in your prompting case. Is that sort of I wasn't aware that you could do that. Is that sort of like a convention in prompting as well, both in the back end and on the front end? And you can do that to specify whether it's a system, assistant, user, and so forth. So those are my two questions.
Yes. So for the first question, I haven't done this a lot of times. So I've done this for the two examples that I gave, which was limiting the amount of characters that you wanted to get from a prompt, and creating content that is matching your style and voice. In both, I've used less than 50, which is the recommended. What I've seen that works is actually like taking care of the prompts and the quality of the data that you are uploading. It's better to upload quality data than to have a lot of rows, but the prompts are not good as the one that I showed. And for your second question, yes, I didn't want to trick you, because on the system area, I was saying, I was giving already ChatGPT some information, like you are a social media expert who is specializing in this platform. If I go to the ChatGPT UI and I don't give this system prompt area, then ChatGPT won't know that I want them to create that, yeah, the typical thing, your persona. You can do it in different ways. So another way of doing it is just by writing persona and then saying, hey, you are a content media manager, whatever. But you can also use this system prompt and just write it like that, and it should work as well. And yeah, it's like a context for ChatGPT, and I usually use that for my prompts.
Great, thank you.
I'm not sure if Paul is still on, but he had a question in the chat. He said, Thanks for sharing. You said it takes 15 minutes to fine tune. Is that very expensive?
Oh, no, it's not very expensive. So this is for the chat GPT 3.5. The 4 is more expensive, but again, it's not super expensive. These 30 lines of rows, it's actually per token, so it's not per line. If you have longer prompts, then you will consume more tokens. But for this file that we show, it was 50 cents of cost, so it's not very expensive. It's good.
Any other questions? That is good to know. 50 cents.
Yeah.
About the cost of a Dolly image, single Dolly image.
Yes, and you don't have to think about your tweets anymore.
I'll pay 50 cents for that. Alrighty. Well, I don't think there's any more questions. Also, if you want to have follow-up questions later, you can follow Triz on Twitter, reach out to her there. She has a website as well. I will share those links in the follow-up email to this call, the meetup. And lastly, I just wanted to share that we are looking for speakers to present the next Pipedream meetup, just like Triz did for us today. If you have a practical workflow you want to share, or you've built a custom action or source that you think is especially neat you'd like to share with us, we're happy to have you on. Or if you have an API integration that you want to promote that you have for Pipedream, you say you built some kind of special API and you built components for Pipedream so that people can easily integrate into their workflows, we'd be happy to have you speak. Here's a QR code to sign up. Yeah, would love to have you on. Just fill that out. It's only a handful of questions, and then I'll be reaching out to you. But I want to thank everybody again for coming out today. And I know it's a holiday, pseudo holiday week, so thank you for taking the time, and thanks again, Triz, for putting together this awesome proof of concept that I didn't know it was that easy to fine tune an OpenAI myself. I think it's really useful, especially if you have like a specific brand that you want to automate messaging for. And for like Pipedream, for example, the concept of a workflow, source, trigger, those are very, very specific words that OpenAI doesn't understand natively. So you could teach it relatively quickly.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
Yeah, and you can use this fine-tune model also on your automations, which is super important. When you are creating a chat or a completion, you can choose this model from the options, and then you can have it on automated mode 100%. So yeah.
I can see this being really useful for help support, like Help Scout or Zendesk. If you want to build off your documentation, or maybe build off of past answers or past conversations to automate the draft of your of your support tickets, for example. So that's a really neat idea. So thanks again, all. Hope you enjoy the holidays, and have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.